Welcome to Dead Cells, the newly released Steam Early Access game that has been capturing the attention of a lot of players within the Souls community. And it makes sense that the developers themselves have even tagged the game as being Souls-like. But just how Souls-like is the game? Honestly, if you ask me, it's not really Souls-like at all. Maybe one or two similar mechanics, but that does not mean it's not a great game and you shouldn't miss it just because it's not 2D Dark Souls. It's something unique in itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the Souls-like mechanic out of the way first so I can move on to talking about the rest of the game. So Dead Cells features a rallying system similar to what you would find in Bloodborne. When you take damage from an enemy, you have a small amount of time to regain that health by attacking them. But unlike Bloodborne, in Dead Cells, the amount of health that you can regain is constantly ticking down, so you have to be really fast if you want to regain most of your health. And for me, that's about as close as it's getting to being Souls-like with that rallying mechanic, so now I can move on to actually talking about the rest of the game and what it does. So the game starts off with you having basically no equipment besides a rusty sword, which actually doesn't do too bad of damage. There are no character classes to choose between, but you do have the choice between starting with a shield or a bow. You can only carry two main weapons at a time, so you have to make a choice here, but you can pick up more shields and bows throughout the game. This is more of a choice as how you want to start your current run. Do you want to be defensive or do you want to be offensive? You can also carry up to 2 usable items at a time. These range from stuff like flashbangs to bear traps to ice grenades. Now you do have infinite use of these items, but they are on cooldown timers, so you just got to be a little bit cautious on when and where you use them. Eventually you will also unlock a healing flask that can be replenished in between areas. You have a slot here for amulets that works somewhat similar to rings in Dark Souls, even though you can only have one equipped at a time. And above that you have counters to show how much gold you are carrying and how many cells you are carrying. Both of these currencies are dropped by enemies after you kill them, with gold being used to purchase items and unlock golden doors, and cells acting as this game's upgrade currency. Any cells that are used towards unlocking new items and equipment are permanently banked. You will not lose any progression upon dying. But that being said, if you do die while playing the game, you will lose all the cells that you are carrying. You cannot recover these at all. And because Dead Cells has no checkpoints, when you die you do go back to the very beginning of the game. Doesn't matter how much progress you've made, you go back to the very beginning. Given this very punishing death mechanic and the fact that the layout of levels change in between every death, no two runs are going to be the same of this game, and that leads to a very tense experience. There's a lot of risk and reward here and a lot of fight or flight moments. Often I was met with the choice, should I speedrun the level and miss out on some upgrades, or should I risk exploring some of the dungeons and get upgrades that might help me further down the line. Sometimes I died in these dungeons and lost my progression, and other times I found some great upgrades that helped me throughout the rest of my run. There is usually always a teleporter at the end of these mini dungeons, so backtracking should not be an issue in this game. In true Metroidvania style, you do find power-up upgrades such as strength or more health by exploring the level. Now these upgrades are permanent only to your specific run. When you die, you lose these upgrades. There is no stat leveling up in the game, but sometimes you do get the choice whether you want to upgrade your health, strength, or skills. There are also plenty of hidden treasures to be found in the levels while exploring, so if you see a symbol like this on the wall, give it a smack. You never know what you might find. There are also cursed chests in the game that give you a lot of good loot, but there are also repercussions for opening them, which play into the risk reward that this game is all about. As far as combat is concerned, there is no stamina bar here, so you can mash the hell out of the buttons as much as you want. Enemies sometimes drop new weapons, or you can purchase new weapons throughout the level. These weapons can also be upgraded in between levels using your cells. And because item and weapon progression is permanent in the game, it is possible in a new game to get an early weapon drop of a weapon that you have upgraded and basically become a god in the early game. Just think of upgrading weapons and items as passing the baton onto your reincarnated future self. It'll help you a lot in future runs. The only complaint I have with the game is that in some areas there are just an absurd amount of enemies, and given how punishing the death mechanic is in this game, it just feels very cheap to die when there's like 15 enemies attacking you at once. Now I don't know if this is intentional enemy placement or if it's just a bug given how the game is creating new layouts of levels in between deaths. But seeing as it is an early access game, I don't mind too much, and this could be something that might change in future updates. All in all, I think Dead Cells is a great callback to some classic and challenging NES gaming, with some of its own unique distinct features to make it a unique and distinct game on its own. The level design, the challenge, the reward, the pixel art, the music, the combat, if you like all those kind of old school touches with some challenging gameplay, then I would highly recommend this game. And even though I'm having a lot of fun and enjoying my time with Dead Cells, just do not go into this game expecting a 2D Dark Souls experience. It really is not that kind of game. So thanks for watching. If you have made it this far, my social links will be in the description below, and there will be a random video on screen right now that you can check out in your free time if you want. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm out for now. Have a nice day.